What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with SPY, Tesla, Nvidia, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. And break down what's happening with the economic calendar moving forward, what's going on with other factors involved in the markets, and what you should be watching for as time progresses. But before I begin doubles information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. I am personally not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull and deposit $500, you're guaranteed 20 free stocks. If you deposit $25,000 or more, you're guaranteed 75 of them. And the offer ends very soon in just a couple of weeks. Anyways, for the market, we're getting a bit of a dip, at least to start off the day for now. As SPY has retested its 20 EMA at 531.3. And also, I just want to note that we called a dip coming to the markets, and that is what's happened so far. Now, whether or not we continue this dip will depend on different factors, which I will talk about. But the reason why the market dipped was based off the unemployment data. So the unemployment rate for May was 4%. That's a little bit above the consensus of the forecast of 3.9%. This is showing a softening of the labor markets, affecting the Fed's policies differently. And if the unemployment data is like a little bit hotter than expected, this could lead to different signals, different, I would say pieces of sentiment to shift about a recession. Now, does this guarantee anything about a recession? Not necessarily, at least based off the current data that we have and what we use to kind of measure that. But it does suggest that there is a softening right now. We are seeing contraction in our economy amidst these higher interest rates, and we're continuing to see unemployment climbing. Now, the labor force participation rate was as expected. Non-farm payrolls were 272,000, above expectations as well. And once again, we are seeing unemployment soften. The market's reaction is a little negative. That's why the market's kind of down a bit, but we are holding support. So I will talk about that in just a minute. Let me just also note that max pain's at 529 for SPY with the 1.92 puts to call ratio. We have 556,000 puts expiring alongside over 288,000 of these calls expiring. The majority of positions are in puts. Now, some more data that's worth noting is the fact that as the market is once again kind of shifting right now, we are starting to see some changes here and there. As far as the job checks go, you guys can see right over here, unemployment data just came out. That's also very important for GameStop. GameStop spiked quite a bit, but it is actually back down. And I told everyone to be careful with these. You want to be watching some key levels. And then Rivian is looking to redesign. It looks pretty cool. It's going to redesign its all-electric R1 pickup and SUV models with Nvidia chips to enhance the computing power. Pretty cool stuff for Rivian. Now, as far as Tesla goes, I just wanted to say that some shareholders are saying that diverting Nvidia chips is further proof that Musk doesn't deserve his pay package. But he did tweet that the reason for this, diverting the chips that were reserved for Tesla all the way to like X and X AI, was because Tesla didn't have a place to send the Nvidia chips to turn them on. So they would have just sat in a warehouse. And they're working on a southern extension of the Giga Texas, which is going to house 50,000 H100s for FSD training. So I think that that point, which is making all the headlines about Musk getting criticism and this and that, doesn't make sense. For his pay package, excuse me, I will respect anyone's decision, but I personally think that it's more advantageous for Tesla shareholders to vote in favor of it because first off, it incentivizes Musk to stay. He's going to help bring in a lot more growth and money into the company. And then secondly, you have to consider the fact that if they do reject it, they're going to have to forge another pay package for Musk, and that's going to cost about $22.7 to $25 billion just to forge it alone in accounting fees. So that alone, is absolutely expensive. It's better to just get it done with, as this was already forged earlier. Keep Musk happy, keep him incentivized to work harder, and the list goes on. Anyways, that's it, at least from that end. What do I see for the markets? SPY has resistance currently around 534. We have support where this trend line happens to be. You guys look at this. I know there's a lot of lines here, but just look at the main white trend line that SPY is riding. We bounced off the trend line, bounced off the trend line, bounced off the trend line. We're holding support so far. If we turn bearish, you want to see SPY basically eventually start to break down and lose 532.5. If you lose that, there's 531.5 as the next support. Breaking that will take us all the way down to the lower 530s, all the way down to these levels. If we're bullish, you want to see it kind of like rebound a bit, try to push back up to 535. I have a feeling that SPY is going to try to rebound a bit upon open, but then it might come down to touch this trend line and continue to trade within this range. Now, seeing that max pain's at 529, there is a risk of the market tipping a little bit lower if we continue to get negative catalysts as the 4 hour is contracting. We also had a bearish divergence, so I wouldn't be surprised if we kind of pop a little bit higher, eventually make our way down to this trend line, and we'll see if we hold the trend line or not. If we lose this, we could see a little dip on SPY before it tries to bounce later again. But I do believe that this could dip again before it tries to rebound. That's what the move we're looking for the time being, and we'll see if SPY loses the support or not. For Nvidia, Nvidia is holding support currently at 1178. We could either shuffle here if we retest 1200 for some time, but later on there is a risk of us losing 1180. If that were to happen, then we have a gap to fill all the way down here at 1165. So that's going to be very, very key. But for now, look for this support. We could actually touch this, kind of rebound, trade sideways, and eventually there's going to be a risk of us dipping all the way back down here. That's going to be very pivotal for the way things continue to move. For Bitcoin, Bitcoin is continuing to climb. We're actually hitting resistance around this 72,000 area. We touched the 20 EMA at 70,000, and we're just kind of shuffling in a range. I think Bitcoin will continue to do so. Bitcoin is on an uptrend, so it could climb higher later on, but for now, I see some range bound price action. For Tesla, I'm seeing the same thing. Tesla's just stuck within a range. I mean, I've been saying this for a very, very long time. We have 180 as resistance, 173 is support, and we also have support where our EMAs are at the 176 area. I presume it's just going to trade sideways for the time being, going back and forth and back and forth. I think that there is a risk of us actually potentially tipping a little bit. I don't think it's going to be that horrible, though. I think for the most part, Tesla will just remain range bound, not really do too much. But if we were to lose the balance, I call that, if we lose the 173s on Tesla and we close below that, we turn bearish. We close above 180, we're bullish. I think for now, we're just kind of trading sideways. For the QQQ, right now, I'm seeing the 4 hour showing some signs of contraction. There is a risk of it dipping a little lower, in my opinion. So we have resistance currently around this 464 area. We have support currently at 462.5. If we lose this, we could be dipping all the way down towards 460. If that fails, this will be dipping all the way down to about 457. So there is a risk of this bearish divergence leading to a little bit more of a sell-off later on. We might pop a bit on the QQQ in the morning before it comes back down, just consolidates for a bit. So either we pop and drop and trade in this range, or we start dipping a little lower later on. So just be prepared for a little sideways price action found a dip as time goes on, especially thanks to Nvidia potentially dipping too later on. Apple's the same thing. We have support at 193.5 and 195 is resistance. We could actually dip a bit before we try to rebound, trade sideways for some time. But if we lose 193.5, we could turn more bearish and start sinking to fill the gap in the 192 area. So I do see some sideways price action, a little rebound and sideways price action in the range, and a risk of us dipping lower as time goes on. For a few more tickers, we also have Amazon. Amazon had resistance around 186. We have support at 184. I think we're going to shuffle for some time in this range, but if we lose 184, we turn back to bearish. Could dip back down to the EMAs here in the 182.5 to 183 area. But I favor sideways price action, maybe a dip later on. For Coinbase, where we pushed all the way up to the 260 area, if we do continue to dip, we could be dipping all the way down to about 252. If that fails, we'll be dipping down to 250. In my personal opinion, we could slow down and kind of slowly make our way down lower. So we'll be watching to see what happens with our 20 EMA. But for now, I'll be watching to see how things end up developing. That's going to be key for how we end up moving. For Meta, we're kind of trading sideways around 495. To be bullish, you want to see it break and hold above 500. If we're bearish, you want to see it basically lose 491, and then we're going to be looking for a test of 485 to 486, this range over here. To me, it looks like Meta is going to trade sideways for some time, and there's going to be a risk of it dipping lower if we lose key support. So I do see a risk of that. Otherwise, it's just trading sideways for now. Now, GameStop and AMC. Yesterday, GameStop popped all the way up to 70. And what happened? We're back down to 38 right now. So it popped and dropped. Unfortunately, watch support at 34. If we hold 34 on GameStop, we're going to be bouncing back up towards 50. If we lose 34, there's going to be a risk of this dipping all the way down towards 28 or lower levels. So 34 is key. Do we bounce off 34 and continue to pump, or do we lose 34 and turn bearish? Watch for a test of that today. For AMC, I'll be watching 5.13. If we lose that, AMC is going to be dipping all the way down towards the 4s again. If we hold 5.13, we could be looking for a bounce back up closer to 6. So I'll be watching that as well as a very, very key level. With that being said, guys, I just want to say I really appreciate you guys for listening. Get ready for market open. And right now, remember, SPY is trying to ride this trend line. So look for a little rebound when we open. But just know that we could end up retesting the trend line. So a little pop and drop is possible. And if we lose the trend line, we will turn back to bearish. So I will be patient. I will be very, very open-minded and give this the time it needs. Thank you for listening. Have a great day, guys. I'll see you guys in a few hours, and peace out.